Hello and welcome to part 2 of my Polymer Clay Dragon Eye tutorial. If you missed part 1, the link will be at the top of the screen. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification icon for more tutorials. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. I've started off by conditioning some black polymer clay, and I've run it through my pasta machine on a medium setting. Of course, if you don't have a pasta machine, you can roll the clay out by hand. It's been very cold here for the last few days, and this house isn't particularly warm, so conditioning the clay has been hard work. Running it through the cold pasta machine seems to undo all my hard work, so it's worth bearing in mind if it's cold where you are. Put your pasta machine on a radiator to get it to room temperature before using it. I've selected 2 circular cookie cutters. The smaller one is approximately the size I want the dragon eye pendant to be, and the next size up is for cutting out the eyelids. I've started off by cutting 3 of the smaller circles. I'm going to trim a piece of the spare clay off and run it through the pasta machine on a slightly thinner setting. On my machine it's set on 6. I'm going to use this thin sheet to create some scales. I have a small tile here with some baking parchment on which I'm going to build the pendant. It can easily be placed in the oven then. I'll use the glass tile to do the prep on. So the first circle is going to be the back piece of the pendant. I'm just placing the eye centrally on the back piece. It's worth taking time to adjust it until you're happy, and then lightly push it into the clay. I'm taking an eye pin as I want this to be a pendant. I'm bending it into a sort of clothes hanger shape with a kink in the bottom. This is so it sits over the glass cabochon. This will be embedded into the clay with no need for any extra glue. Make sure the eye pin lines up with the pupil, and again press that into place. The remaining 2 discs will be for the eyelids. Use the larger cutter to create a crescent shape for the eyelid. You may need to do this a couple of times until you get the shape that you want. So I'm placing these on the base, partly over the cabochon to create eyelids. And I'm trimming off the overlap with a craft knife and removing the excess. Just to give the eye a smoother appearance. I'm rolling up some of the waste clay and making it into a sausage shape to go into an extruder. It's important that the clay is soft as possible when it's being used in an extruder, and I'm using a small circular die, and I'm going to extrude a couple of feet of clay. I'm using this to line the eyelids. I know it's not that easy to see with the black clay. Just lightly pressing that into place. I've taken another length of the extrusion and folded it in half, and I'm twisting it together to make something that resembles a rope. If you don't have an extruder, you can roll these out by hand. Just try to make sure that the twists are even. Press the rope around the outside of the eye, starting at the eye pin, and trim off the excess. Of course you can decorate your eye however you want, this is just to give you some ideas. So now I'm taking the thin piece of clay I rolled out and using a tissue blade, I'm cutting a series of diamond shapes. And lightly manipulating them between your thumb and forefinger creates a nicely shaped dragon scale. I like to place them overlapping, and I work from top to bottom and from the outside of the eye. And you can put on as many or as few as you like. Taking some more of the extruded clay, I'm cutting it into approximately 4mm lengths. It doesn't need to be precise as I'm going to roll this out into tapered whiskers. And using a ball tool, place them onto the eye. Again, you can place these however you like. Take your time arranging the whiskers until you're happy with them. I'm using a ball tool to make some dimples. This gives more texture and helps disguise the edges of the scales and the whiskers. Using some of the scrap clay, I'm going to make a series of balls. These are graduated in size. I'm placing them on the eye with the larger balls to the left and working towards the right, decreasing in size as I go along. Just using the ball tool to create some indents in the balls to give added interest. Using a couple of longer pieces of the extruded clay, I'm tapering them out to create long whiskers to go on the top and bottom of the eye. I'm going to add colour using mica powders. I want the blue to go under the large whiskers, so I'm just lifting those out of the way. And while the whiskers are out of the way, I'm adding bronze to the rope. Although this mica looks brown in the pot, it takes on a green tinge when used on black polymer clay. I'm using gold on the shorter whiskers and the scales. Mica powders really do create impact. Dust off any excess mica powder and bake in the oven at the recommended temperature for the stated time. As I'm using Fimo, I'm going to bake this at 110 degrees C for 30 minutes. Once the eye has baked and has cooled down to room temperature, I like to give it a coat of Fimo glaze. This will seal in the mica powders and give an added sheen. The more coats of Fimo gloss varnish, the more the sheen. The varnish will be touch dry in about 20 minutes, but it's not recommended that you recoat until after 24 hours. If you try this project, please let me know how you get on. You can even post pictures to my Facebook page. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.